Hello, good afternoon, and welcome everybody. Well, today it's a topic that needs a lot of thought, that needs a bit of seriousness, and also some gravity. Okay. Welcome to Tech Talk Tuesday for Teachers. We love making learning fun for you, but sometimes there are certain places where you really need to think about what and give it a serious thought. Let's put it as that. All right. So today we are talking about digital trust and AI, teaching ethics and responsibility. Well, I think integrating AI in our education system, especially in K-12, has had a profound potential. And we all have spoken about it over multiple weeks for the kind of potential that we have experienced by enhancing student engagement, by personalizing learning paths, and by streamlining some of our administrative tasks. So, while we have spoken about all of this, I think it only becomes significant that we should be talking about responsibility as well, particularly concerning with privacy, security, and ethical usage. And I think those are some of the questions that have always come up in our conversations, right? And while it serves as a beautiful tool in our teaching learning, it can also be a source of risk if we do not adhere to the principles of fairness, reliability, inclusivity, and implementing the guidelines and regulations. And we need to be stringent about it. Well, did things get very serious? No, not really. Welcome to this session. Just wanted to lay in front of you what is it that we are going to talk about today, and I hope I have set the tone for us to roll. However, I haven't forgotten. Please do introduce yourself in the chat window. Type your name, school name, and city, and whatever you want to share. And tell us what's that one thing that comes to your mind when you hear the words digital trust and AI? What comes to your mind when you hear the word digital trust and AI? Okay. As the responses come in, we will. I know, this is something that will need much deeper a thought. So we understand if you're taking some time, go ahead and take some time. In the meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and, set the stage for our conversation today. And I think fostering AI literacy amongst educators and students and committing to responsible AI practices is crucial to harnessing AI's full potential. While we are safeguarding the well-being and privacy of students and teachers alike, we have certain agenda that we have set aside for today, which will be in the interest of both students and teachers. So today we have a packed agenda for you, but we have left a lot of time for deliberation as well. You will see that the agenda, what you're looking at right now, is pretty light. We're going to talk about understanding ethical AI use. What do you mean by, ethical? Explore digital trust. How do you build and maintain this trust? And also learn some practical strategies as to how to do this, because it's very easy to talk about it, but I think what's the tougher part is how to bring this to life, right? So we plan to talk about all of that today. So those of you who have shared their thoughts, thank you so much. Please keep them coming. We will read them as they come in. So the first question that came to my mind while we were drafting this whole piece was, do we really know what is digital trust in AI? Yeah. So do we really understand what do you mean by digital trust? I mean, we all are digital educators, and that's pretty basic, right? So what do you mean? What is digital trust? So while this conversation started, I think the first thought that hit me is that we're not even clear about what are we talking about by placing this trust. Well, we are referring to the confidence of the users. Everybody, you, me, students, teachers, even our family members. We need to have an AI system in place that is safe, fair, transparent, respectful of our privacy. Did I really crack a joke there? No, really not. Because it's about ensuring that these AI tools, which are being used by everybody, are not only effective but also ethical and accountable. Well, the next question that I asked myself was, is that really possible? I mean, in this world where I think every day we have a throw of, terms or AI apps for us, how do we even think about, maintaining or bringing in this trust using these apps? It actually refers to, certain aspects of usage of AI tools, like how do we protect our personal data? How do we make decisions on what is presented to us is fair and not and is without biases? How do we even work around transparency? In the work as to where is this data coming from? Is my data also being used here to convey thoughts to somebody, just the way somebody else's thoughts are coming to me through their blogs? Can anyone be held accountable when something goes wrong? So, yeah, so all of these were some of the thoughts when we started designing and drafting today's session. And I'm sure, these are some of the pieces because I'm looking at the chat window. You're saying reliability, authentic, data privacy, data security. Yes, these are some of the words that popped up in our minds as well. And I think we got an answer here where it is paramount today that we should be able to build a very strong and a solid foundation. While in this age of AI, computer science isn't just mandatory as a subject in schools where you're teaching them about AI, robotics, cybersecurity, and data sciences. The foundation of this will be about ethics, data, programming, and algorithms. So these are some of the pieces that we need to read. And I know, when we talk about these pieces, many of us will be, oh, really? But I'm not a computer science teacher. And that's perfectly all right. Even if you're not, you are a digital user. You are a digital educator. Your students use this. And therefore, we need to rely on agencies like Teach AI, who heavily work in this realm. And with Teach AI, we have these 7 principles of AI in education. If we look at these 7 principles, I'm just going to give you a dip into this. This will answer many of the questions or worries that I've just stated for you over here. First of all, like I've always said, have a purpose. Why do you want to use AI? Explicitly connect the use of AI to your, goal, or, what is it that you're doing it for? What's your purpose? So it should be employed purposefully and it should be able to enrich your experience. That is paramount, right? The focus should be that the AI is being used by students and by teachers to achieve a particular goal. And while you do that, please ensure that you're able to offer equity, inclusivity, and reduce the digital divide. Tall ask? Well, simple answer. You all use Microsoft Teams. You're using reading progress to improve your reading fluency. While you are doing that, it is so simple that it is free of cost. It's available to everybody. It's available those reading passages can be allocated at different levels to suit your personal level, reading level. Now that exactly brings down your, your worries of equity, inclusivity, and digital divide, right? Now, while it does that, we know that our learners come from various needs and backgrounds. There's also availability of different languages and immersive reader over there. Now, both these combinations really help bridging that gap and addressing and catering to diverse learners, their needs and their backgrounds. By the way of an example, I think a school policy should say that, rather than banning this technology, which students would still access off campus, whether you like it or not, or in their personal networks, we should be choosing to view this as an opportunity to learn and grow and educate our students to say, hey, do you know, this is available and this is available at this level for you and for him and for her and for everybody, right? You can actually tweak it to your convenience as well. Number two, compliance. The minute we hear the word compliance, we run to our admin, we run to our IT department, but we never think about what about me? I mean, adherence to existing policies is extremely important, but AI is something that's new. Therefore, it requires compliance in the key areas of, what kind of policies will you have around AI usage. For example, your students are using reading fluency in Microsoft Teams. Where is this data going? This is students' data. They're recording this. Is the recording going to go somewhere? Or is it going to rest in a safe place? So it is essential to align AI usage with the existing regulations and ethical practices and update them to the new ones that you're using, particularly regarding student privacy and data security. Yeah, I'm just throwing a few examples here. As we go forward, I will be deep diving into each of these. Third one being knowledge. I think AI literacy we is one thing that we need to promote to every stakeholder, regardless of what you do. If you are being touched by AI literacy is I think it's sacrosanct that everybody should know how AI works, its limitations, its implications, ethical considerations that you need, and it is I think we should take upon us as teachers to equip everybody, every individual, with the skill and knowledge to engage responsibly with AI. Later on, we deal with cases when they come up. Why do we have to wait for a rainy day to buy an umbrella, right? We know it's going to rain in July. Therefore, buy your umbrella beforehand, make it accessible, let everybody know there's an umbrella available at home so that when you go out, you don't get wet. So, the elements of computer science, ethics, psychology, data science, and so much more should be a part of our system, and we should be imparting training to every stakeholder. We should be inviting professionals, researchers, experts to actually, help us develop these skills and competences that are necessary for us to understand how the AI system can be implemented in a very ethical and responsible manner. Fourth one being balance. Realize that, it has both benefits and risks. Now, while both are there, while you're treading the path of benefits and, literally not just treading, I think you're hopping with the usage of AI. I think it's equally important to hop onto the other side as well and acknowledge and mitigate the risks that are there. So, our education system should provide guidance to users about how AI can be used responsibly, ensuring that, we're looking after the well-being and and are very sure of the learning outcomes of what we are dealing with. Uh, there are multiple resources that are available. For example, there is this practical guide of generative AI use case. I'll be happy to share with you, which is available. And it outlines what is it that should be a concern, how should you address this. Now, all of these things are something that we should be very mindful of, and how to simplify and avoid landing into difficult situations is something we should be prepared for. Fifth one, integrity. I think academic integrity is something, at least today, I hear schools talking about it a lot. Now, while we are talking about it, I think it is about time that we address plagiarism risks. While I've heard every teacher tell us that, we know students are using AI for homework and they just go and copy, paste, and everything. What are we doing about it? The important part is how we can emphasize the fundamental value of honesty, trust, fairness, respect, responsibility, and put that on the shoulders of the students. I had a very simple case. The other day, I had a discussion with a teacher, and she said that, what? I knew about 60% of the students in my class had used ChatGPT or some other, tool to do their homework because I know them. They're not capable of, writing the kind of level of writing that I got. And I also know that they shared with each other that we have done that. So I said, it's great that you know about it. It's good that you know and you acknowledge that I know that they've done that. But what are you going to do next is most important. So we had a discussion and I suggested to her, do something. Put these pieces, let's say, randomly pick up 10 pieces. Okay. Don't even think about which notebook or which paper are you picking up. Lay them out on the table. Ask the students to spot which one do you think which paper used, in which paper was AI used to draft answers, and in which ones do you think are authentic? Put it in front of them because they need to look into the mirror to say, oh, that's how you spot. And if I can spot, she or he can spot too, right? Bringing it out is the first thing. Acknowledgement is the first thing. Therefore, what do we do if some of you have, used generative AI for, or AI models to do your homework? Uh, Lay the onus on them. And the first answer that will come up is, that's not fair. I did not use it, but the others are using it and they're getting you better answers. Well, yes. What do we do about it? Well, what we do about it is I gave you a couple of scenarios to respond to within the class so that I at least know that what you have written, you have read. And if not, here's your opportunity to read as well. So, a simple practices in place, being honest, not brushing things under the table, cross referencing information. It's extremely important. And this is how, students are going to value authentic creation. So, teachers, we need to be very clear about when and how to use AI on our assignments. And if we feel that, this is AI dependent or, AI generated response, simply just put it out there. Let the students know what is permissible. Uh, Students can freely utilize AI or not. Let's say, if they want to use it for proofreading, probably not bad an idea. If they want to use it for generating ideas, you may want to think about it. Sometimes you want to put it at a moderate level where you feel that, specific parts of the assignment, I think it's all right for them to do it in front of me because the initial brainstorming has happened or the initial research has happened. Now, for the deeper research, they're anyway going to go to the internet to get the core content, right? Therefore, what you can allow is you could say that, all right, moderate uses is allowed. If you have shown me the initial research or brainstorming, you could actually go for the deeper research. And then when you come back, we're going to consolidate and we're going to write our own conclusions. That way, it's a moderate usage of AI. And then, of course, there's restrictive. There are certain scenarios where you do need students' original creation. Simply just prohibit. Say it as is. On the assignment, write it. Just the way you write instructions, please write, please note. If you use AI for this assignment, you must inform the teacher and let me know where you have picked up and why it was used here. Maybe there was a genuine reason, then it's all right, but it should be for you to decide. Therefore, that sort of a integrity piece is something that we need to bring in. Number 6, agency. I think maintaining a human decision is very important. You can rely as much as you want on AI, generate, iterate, have a complete intervention with the AI tool to say, I need to work on this piece, just help me work. All right, that's fine. But human approval on those processes, human intervention, human consultation, augmentation is something that is very important. You can't replace yourself through a tool to say, hey, just draft an email for me. I need to send it out to someone. No, you cannot go missing out of the piece. So you cannot replace yourself using AI. And I'm sure you don't, right? But the promise of AI is not in substituting human instructors, but by augmenting or streamlining the endeavors that you are engaging in. So the perspective that, there are comparable results in the classroom, you can still augment your work using AI. However, the ultimate control has to be with the user, whether you're an educator or a student. Yeah. And the last one being evaluation, continuously assess the impact of AI. It's very crucial. You review, you update the guidance that is being provided because there are so many changes happening every day in the world of AI, with AI agents coming in. There are yet to laws and legality part of it is yet to update themselves sometimes. But however, they're very, very active now. in updating themselves as well. And there are AI guidance school toolkits that are available. And I'm going to give you a link in our chat window on that as well from Teach AI, which is available for you to use in your schools. And I'll highly encourage you to, do use these tools because it's important. In fact, while we are in these conversations, we rely heavily on these websites to learn more because how else do you come to know about, any of these pieces? So I've dropped the link in the chat window on these 7 principles. And this is something I would say is key. This is a framework for implementing, AI in your school in a very responsible and effective manner. And by adhering to these guidelines, I think all of us, every stakeholder and policymaker, you can harness the benefit of AI in the most balanced, ethical, and inclusive approach that is possible. Yeah, I hope this is helpful. I'm happy to take any questions that you might have on this, and I'll give you about a minute or two to go ahead and explore this, open this, take a look at it, see, what all it entails, and I'll also take you there so that you know where to go to access and how to access this, because some of you, I guess, do not have access to the chat window, which is fine. You can take a look at this. Uh, Here you go. When you go here, you will find this toolkit over here. These are editable docs. Yes, you can actually download them, and while you are doing so, you can edit them as well. So this has also guidance of on or how to draw the overall vision, and I will highly encourage you to take this at least to your IT teams so that they look at these examples of vision. Your school visions are on your board, but they were made when the school was made, right? They've not been redesigned or revisited. So please go ahead and do so. Uh, there are various samples, examples given over here. Please, and also there's a presentation here which you can take and give to others while you're listening here. Your colleagues are not here. Use this extensively. It's a beautiful piece. And of course, it also defines the potential benefits in AI and also potential risks. Now, these are the risks that you must speak about to your colleagues, and you will do them a favor if you could actually take this piece back into your classrooms. Yeah. Okay. I hope this helps. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. I'm going to go back. Okay. Please keep my chat window buzzing. You know I love questions. Please do bring in some questions. Now, I know I have worried you much, therefore, um, the question of why responsible AI matters in school goes out of the window. But there are two pieces that we would like to address today in this session. Number one, biased AI decisions, that is, hiring tools, whatever tools you're engaging in, and facial recognition. Number two, misuse of AI content, for example, deepfakes and plagiarism. I think responsible AI in education is basically about the AI systems that you're deploying, and the principles that lie in deploying that should be ethical, and that they should be able to protect everybody's rights, the user's rights. Um, what does this mean? This means that, like I've, given you multiple examples of, how you could actually deploy this. So imagine a school who's going to use an AI tool to help screen scholarship applications. Very commonly we do this, right? So if this tool was trained on data from urban schools, it might unintentionally favor, uh, you know, uh, just a second, sorry. Yeah. It might unintentionally favor students from cities rather than doing that from the uh, town areas, right? So that's a clear example of biased decisions. Another real world example would be, while some of the companies for hiring are using AI as a tool for screening, what happens is by default, these screening tools will favor the male candidates because it was trained in the past for the hiring data. and it reflects that gender bias. So what happens is for a particular job, let's say a fireman's job, let's say, there will be a lot of data about male firemen joining, or pilots for that matter. Too many male pilots joining, as a pilot on an algorithm. Now, here is where the intervention is required, because that will be very gender biased by saying males will be favored as an applicant. But today you see number of female pilots. Now, if we were to rely on AI only and say, hey, just sort it for me, well, that's, what will happen then, right? Similarly, I think facial recognition systems are less accurate for people where and you'll be surprised, but it's very biased, very very biased to the people who have darker skin tones, which leads to misidentification or potential harm as well. I mean, imagine such a such a wrong bias happening just because of facial recognition. So while we feel that there are multiple use cases for facial recognition, I think there is mindful application that is required. And as far as students are concerned, while we are deploying this, if you have a feature of facial recognition in the app, these are some of the questions you could be asking. Yeah, you could actually ask if your AI tool is designed to ensure fairness. How biased is it? Who created it? And what data was used to train your AI tool? So these are some of the questions that you must ask as an educator because you know about it now, right? Also, misuse of AI. For example, deepfakes and plagiarism, misinformation. Deepfakes are, I think, so very prevalent right now on social media. I just had a conversation just a few hours back. So there was this a kind of a video. So people are doing generating a lot of videos and images and animations and motions. So I've just shared one. I will be sharing that one on social as well. So there is a group of about 4 to 5 boys who are taking a bath. Okay, in a flowing pond. Possibly you would have also come across a flowing river actually. And there's a tree, and there's a snake that's coming out of the tree, nudging the boy from the back. Give me a thumbs up if you've seen that. Nudging that boy, not really, biting it, but just nudging and going back into the tree. And it's scary to look at, right? I don't know what the intent was, whether you're trying to scare children by telling them not to take a bath in a flowing river because there are snakes around. Well, the idea of taking a bath in the river itself is like scary. You can't do that, right? You know what struck? How come the others are sitting so far? This child is sitting here. The rest of them can see the snake, but they're not even warning that child to say there's a snake, right? There are certain pieces that are being floated that are absolutely fake. So we need to really take a deep look at what's being presented. Let's say a student is using an AI tool to write an entire essay in your class, and it happens all the time, right? Submits it without understanding or citing the resources. This undermines the learning or academic integrity that we've just spoken about. What can you do about it? The entire essay is written. Do I send it back? How many children are going to write it? Do I have time to accommodate this? Yes. The answer is yes to both, because this is the time for you to get into the corrective mode before it goes absolutely out of hand. The AI generated content will impersonate public figures, you spread false information, bring it out, bring it to your classrooms. Ask students to identify a fake news and a real news. So it's very important for us to actually bring those to our classrooms. In fact, have that class teachers should take it upon themselves to take this, if not on daily basis, at least weekly basis, have some pieces to compare to say AI or not AI, right? If AI, how do you know? Are there any sites or tools that have been cited? Does it pass your truth test? Well, what happens if people start believing fake videos? Those are the kind of questions that you must portray or project in front of your students and let them analyze what is wrong, what are the ethical guidelines, and how do we prevent it. Again, There are blogs available on this. I think Microsoft has done extensive work on this. I'm going to give you the link to some real world, scenarios, classroom scenarios where teachers have been using AI, and you must take a look at how this has been used. I know today is a little too much talk and not many tools, but I think this is the place where we need to pause to think about what we have been doing. And I think it is our responsibility, especially at the Pedagogics, we feel very, very responsible that we need to, we need to teach AI and AI literacy as well. And therefore, this is a piece of the AI literacy that we are dealing with today. Okay. So, what are the core principles? Well, how do we build this responsible AI in schools? Core question, right? Core question. And the answer is four pieces: fairness, transparency, accountability, safety, and privacy. I would put these four pieces on the walls of my school and say, tell me, what do I do about it? So, for fairness, what do you mean by the word fairness? Buzz my chat window and tell me, what do you mean by fairness? Go ahead. I'm waiting for you. What do you mean by fairness? What would you include when I say, I'm not sure if this tool is fair or not?
So Meenakshi ma'am, Ridhima ma'am says
Transparency. Yes.
transparency in
Thank
data.
you. Thank you. Transparency in data. Fairness means honest. Yes. What else? Authenticity of the tool. Yeah. Okay. Correct judgment. Yeah. Do you see what's coming in here? If you see, and if I were to fit these words, fairness means reality world. All of these would fit in any of these. It'll fit in fairness, it'll fit in transparency, it'll fit in accountability, and it'll also fit in safety and privacy. So, what I'm trying to tell you here is yes, equal access. There is a very thin line between each of these terms, and therefore, they're best understood with an example. Fairness or means ensuring equitable performance across demographics, no discrimination. You're absolutely right, Shweta. Let's take an example. Here, the scenario is AI essay grading tool is being used, and this system consistently gives lower grades. That's the problem. Lower grades to essays written by students using non-standard dialects or cultural references unfamiliar to AI model. What do you mean by this? Okay, let's take an example. There's a grade 9 student from a small town in India, and he writes an essay in English language assessment. And the topic is My Village, a place close to my heart. Okay, my village, a place close to my heart. Now, the student beautifully describes the vibrant traditional, village scenario, local festivals, let's say, very local festivals like Pongal, Bihu, and the importance of the community gathering and the rhythm around the whole agriculture piece. Well, the essay was not, or the AI tool that was grading it did not have any of this authentic data about the student's background. Now, that's what matters. It doesn't understand that predominantly this AI tool is being made in cities by people who live in cities in different countries. And we love it when, an international tool gets launched into our country. And the first question that you must go back to ask is, has this been trained on Indian data? Or is it urban centric, or is it foreign centric? It's not Indian by nature. English writing samples flag the grammatical inconsistencies. They'll give you unfamiliar phrases, they'll give you the informal tone, because that's how we speak. The system is very westernized and is not able to take up the way we are writing, the tone in which we are writing. And AI can be very unintentionally, perpetuate into being biased. While it doesn't understand our culture, it doesn't understand our linguistic diversity, No two states in India write English dialect in the same way. They speak differently. I mean, normally our students write in a very colloquial language, right? It underscores the importance of human oversight to ensure that there is fairness in assessment. Teachers need to contextualize AI feedback and adjust for linguistic diversity. Very simple example in your case. Again, I'm going to go back to reading progress. Let's say reading progress is generated. You take an AI generated passage. Now, while you're doing that, do remember it's a very westernized piece. For example, there will be donuts and there will be croissants. And some of our children will be, not in all towns or cities in India would they recognize what it is, though the urbanization has ensured that they will. However, we need to bring it to a level. For example, Thanksgiving. For example, Turkey. Turkey as a on the feast as a Thanksgiving is something that's absolutely alienated for our students. However, if you're doing cultures, festivals, if you're doing animals, those are the examples that will come. What you need to do is to celebrate local voices rather than penalize them. We actually change this into saying that, a particular festival, let's say it is Eid and it's Bakrid, and we are going to have, the biryanis of the world over there. So just personalize it, just bring it to a context to say, this is localized this way, and open the conversation with students about how AI works and how double checking their work and while they are bringing it to you is necessary, and advocate that for inclusivity in technology, it is extremely important that human intervention is ahead of AI intervention. Yeah, I hope this helped. Let's move to the second piece, transparency. Again, transparency, I think we all are always trying to be very, very fair, very, very transparent, unbiased. I'm just going to pick up some words from the chat window. And we want to do our best when it comes to our students, right? Here's a classroom scenario. An AI writing assistant suggests rephrase sentences, but students don't know why one suggestion is better than other. Now, students are using AI writing assistant, let's say Grammarly or editor in Word to improve their essays. And the tool suggests that the results are very good. Now, the outcome is highly favorable by AI because AI understands that kind of a formal language. My student hasn't been able to use the formal language that it was expecting. Therefore, it will suggest, why don't you write this instead of that? Let's pause. Why? Because we need to think if AI has understood the context in which I want to write this sentence. You need to step back and think, what did I ask? Um, I asked AI to improve the clarity and tone. What did AI give me? It replaced very good into highly favorable. That's a very formal phrase. Do I really need to use this? Does it make sense? Yes, in a formal essay, it'll make sense. However, in academics, where you're writing like a student and the teacher's going to read it, I think very good as a word is all right. Rather, I would say, give me 10 words to replace the word very good. And it'll give me, and then I can choose. So, direct acceptance of the suggested content is something that we must avoid. And we must ask for suggestions, multiple suggestions. Try and change the prompt, observe what the outputs are. Make a conscious decision so that it fits your voice and purpose rather than you fit into AI's voice and purpose. Yeah, I hope what I'm saying is making sense to you. Don't feel shy in sending in a scenario in the chat window. I would love to have a conversation with you about what do you think we should do when this happens. Until then, I'm also going to give you another one, accountability. Oh, huge. Schools, I think, need to clearly define who's responsible for monitoring this AI usage. I think everyone in school community should be responsible, not just staff, teachers, IT teams, parents, any stakeholder. If you have a role in education, I think it is your responsibility. It's your responsibility to have a role in ensuring that AI is offered ethically, safely, and effectively to students. Let's take an example here. Students use AI to create, content for a science project because you've asked them to. But one team uses AI to write the entire report without reflection. Hmm. Interesting. Now, what happens is students have been assigned a group to write this report. One team is using AI generated without understanding the content or contributing to the original thought. What is the problem here? The problem is not cheating. The problem is no reflection, no learning. Just copy paste from AI. Well, over here, we need to teach this team how to use this ethically and reflectively. Let's say, include a short reflection. What did I learn from using AI? Cite the content from or cite the place site where or make a citation from where this content has been picked. Use AI to support, not to replace thinking. Your biggest way of uh, you know dealing with this is scaffolding learning, monitoring this usage rather than negating. They're anyway going to use it. Teach them how to use it responsibility. Use a rubric to reward critical thinking and originality. That is one piece that I feel should go in most of the assignments today. A reward or extra marks or a star or some which way to acknowledge critical thinking and originality. Review the AI generated content for accuracy and relevance. Most of the times students are just going to copy and paste. As for the IT teams, I think we need to vet AI tools before the classroom starts using. Every teacher in your school is using a tool which IT team doesn't even know what's being used sometimes, because you're just going to log in with your personal ID and you're going to start using it. Who's going to keep track? Please have permissions, filters, training of staff on AI tools so that we are responsible about it. Have parent mornings, have parent evenings, have parent conversations, send out messages, audio, video, whatever you can. Invite them for AI workshops, because this AI usage happens maximum at home, not in school, because you do not give them the scope with the tight schedules that you have in school. These ethical issues are mostly happening at home. Therefore, we need to pinpoint our finger, but I think we need to educate all. So the action point here would be probably, develop a school-wide AI agreement, which outlines what is responsible AI, what does it mean, what do you mean by misuse, what do you mean by monitoring, who is going to monitor, how are the students going to reflect on it. So, an example would be I will use AI to support Dash and not replace my learning. That's an agreement. I will ask questions if I don't understand and read AI suggestions and then write it in my own words. That's an agreement. Then I'll not submit AI generated work, but supplement, complement, and augment it with my own thinking before submitting. These are some simple agreements that you can have, because if you have rules, they are to be broken. If you have agreements, well, you agreed to doing this, didn't you? I'm going to talk about agreements a little more in a minute. I think safety and privacy is something that we need to keep on top. And the good part is that, you can easily spot if the tool, complies with privacy laws like GDPR or COPA. GDPR is a European, law, and COPA is a US law. And personal information should never be shared without consent. I've always said in every session of mine, when you go and log into any app, first thing they ask is allow, select, or preferences, or deny all. Please make that personal choice. Make a mindful choice over there. Don't just agree to everything. They might ask your students to input the name, age, hometown. That's personal information, right? For you, they'll ask you for your name, school name, subjects you teach. Well, you're giving yourself out there. The risk is this could expose sensitive data, especially if the app isn't compliant with privacy regulation. Therefore, before signing in or before logging in, please take a minute. No hell breaks free in a few minutes, right? Therefore, please, please, please pause to think. You know, uh, Generic placeholders are there in every website when you sign up. Please protect your identity. But, once you've done that, that you have checked if they comply with GDPR or COPA, and the privacy policy is available, does it require a parental consent if you're dealing with minors? This is something, even if they are not using, you are going to use this in the class, right? If you're going to use this in the class and you have minors in your class, Only thing you need is a parental consent. Educate the parent and then take a consent. Don't just send because parents are far too busy. They'll just sign something. Okay, school is sending, I'm sure it must be very responsible. Well, don't assume. Sorry, give me a minute. All right, sorry. Please regularly teach them what you mean by personal data and why it matters. How to anonymize information is something that you must teach students. As students review a fake app, like I said, fake data, do the fake app, identify what data it collects, and rewrite the input. I would say do these exercises with teachers as well. Ask them to sign up on 10 apps. Ask them after that, did you anonymize your details? Were you really mindful? Yes, you're right, Nidhi ma'am. You're absolutely right. Students need to be guided on this, and we are the ones who should be doing this. And therefore, we pause to hold these sessions so that we are able to offer to you ways in which we can take this back to our classroom. Right? Have a short, guidance session. We used to host these talks where we would just pose a question. Let's say, what AI tools are being used? And students love to tell you, and parents love to tell you, Pata hai, my child knows this one, my child goes on this one, generates this. Oh, they love to tell you. Ask them to tell you all the apps that they're using, right? And then you say, how student is protected is do you know, and is the student protected while using this? And there's a perfect silence in the. So, what parents can do at home is reinforce safe practices. Share with them privacy awareness checklist. Uh, Create that culture in your school. Submit anything. Did I use a nickname or a placeholder? Did I avoid using my real location? Did I check if the tool is approved by my school? There are multiple checks that you can put in place, but you need to have a conversation about it. Enough guidance is available. Go to Teach AI. Go to there's so many websites. You go there. You go to Microsoft Tools. They will give you guidance or sample agreements as well as to what is it that you can have. Therefore, building responsible AI culture is non negotiable. As AI becomes increasingly integrated into our education system, I think it is essential to foster a culture of AI being used ethically, transparently, and responsibly. I think a responsible AI culture empowers everybody, every user, and you can engage not just confidently but also thoughtfully and safely, and you know what you're using is really important. I think I've laid a lot of emphasis on and raised concerns around bias, privacy, misuse, and digital trust. Building responsible AI culture is what I'm resting on your shoulders, and I request you to take this forward. We are here to support you. Please drive just one thought. Don't let AI replace value human thinking. And that's one thought that I want you to take back. One more thing. Don't think that only GDPRs and COPAs of the world are the ones that protect you. There are Indian laws and Indian, safeguarding systems as well. Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023, that is DPDPA. People know very less about this. The purpose of this, act is that this is India's first comprehensive data protection law. Okay. So you need to familiarize people with that. This includes principles like data minimization, purpose limitation, and user rights. And the key features here would be, very consent centric. How can you make every piece to be consent centric, which means data processing must be on a clear user consent. So the consent that I was talking about, you can see what is set at the age of 18. Higher than that, you can go for COPA, which also allows you for 13 years of age. Then children's data requires verifiable parental consent. That should be built in. Then also entities handling this personal data must follow strict obligations. Entities processing large volume of your sensitive data have additional responsibilities like appointing a data protection officer. So in your school itself, you don't need to do all of this. However, you will get breach notifications. For example, in Microsoft, you will get a mail saying this has been parked for approval, or this has been quarantined. Now that means that there is something that is fishy about that mail and you need to go and check it. because Microsoft tools are COPA and GDPR compliant. And while you are implementing them in India, they have to comply to the DPDPA as well now. So, especially for cybersecurity and digital transactions, please note you must comply, you must check if the apps comply with these or not. I think I'm going to bring it all together by saying a responsible AI culture doesn't protect students. It prepares them to be thoughtful, ethical digital citizens in a world shaped by intelligent technologies. And I think it matters and it really, depends on us. These are the four pieces, last four pieces that I'm giving you strategies. Very simple strategies. Like I said, create an AI use agreement, a shared document that outlines your expectations, responsibilities, and ethical guidelines, all three. Put the ethical guidelines in your on a table each. Ask the students to say, what do you think is expected to follow? What do you think are your responsibilities? What do you think should be the responsibility of the school? Ask them to define. They'll help you define. They use it much more than us, but they don't know about it. Please help them become, responsible. Use AI to support their learning, but in a very monitored way. Teach them ethical practices, practice with them, and have these essential agreements created. You can use visible thinking routines. Like, I love visible thinking routines. I know you've attended many of our sessions on it. If you need a session in your school on visible thinking routines, do let us know. We'll be happy to host any of this. We're happy to come and deep dive with you, right? So simple relatable questions that can help students reflect on how they interact with AI. For example, what did I ask AI? And did I ask the right question? Am I offering my personal data to students? Have pairing routines. For example, I draft something. I draft a prompt to ask AI. My peer, two of let's say we are working in triads. Two of my peer are going to evaluate to see, if they can provide me some deeper insights into it. So have those thinking routines. Teach students digital citizenship. You're a digital educator. Don't leave it for, I've said this, I think, in every session of mine. Don't leave it for computer science teachers to teach digital citizenship. You are digital educators. Therefore, it is your responsibility to teach the usage of technology, including privacy, ethics, online behavior, everything. It is our responsibility. Identifying and recognizing misinformation, deepfakes, respecting intellectual property, all of this is extremely important. And classroom action towards this would be student led discussions, debates. Give them digital dilemmas. Oh, I love giving them digital dilemmas. Digital dilemmas would be everything that I've spoken about today. I've given you so many use case scenarios today. Then involve parents and tech admins. I think, talked about this enough. I would help. It will be greatly helpful if you could actually have these pieces as a part of your the newsletters that you send, updates that you send to your parents. Seek feedback loops from parents to say, this is the practice that we are about to introduce. How do you feel about it? Yeah. Okay, so I think I have overloaded you with information. And yes, for today, we have a very short test for whatever we have done because there's loads that could have happened today. But I think there's only as much that one can absorb. So we've only placed 5 questions for today's test. But so it's time for you to take a test to know to earn a certificate for these sessions. And you already know that. To earn a certificate for these sessions, you have to take a test, score 80% in that test. Do remember when there are lesser number of questions, to achieve that 80% will be slightly tougher. However, you can take as many chances as you want. There's no cap on that. Once you have achieved 80%, you have to pay a nominal fee of rupees 200. The procedure and everything is written in the form. You can follow that and then earn the certificate.